Who doesn't want to save time when they produce forecasts and budgets? Well, in today's video, we're going to go through a feature of Excel that you may not have discovered, which has saved me a shed load of time in creating budget spreadsheets. The UNPIVOT feature that's within the Queries menu. I'm Andy Biggs from Info Superstar. Let's go to the actual spreadsheet I've prepared to make this happen. If you look at the top here, we've got data that looks just like you may have with your budgets. We have columns across the top that show the months you're trying to forecast, and then down the side you have attributes like departments or accounts. So you fill out a grid and you want to create a budget based upon this. But what you actually find is that your actual data looks quite different. Your actual data often comes in like a flat format. You might still have the departments and accounts, but the dates in this case are in columns and the values are in columns, and you only have one set of values for each type of value, and you can't put the two together. So what most people do is they go and create a spreadsheet for actuals, put a lot of work in, create actuals so they can start to then put a budget together in this kind of helpful human type format where logically you see the columns for months go across the top. Well, what I've found actually is that when we want to use data tools in Excel, which save us a lot of time, we want to do the other way around. We're happy with the actual data having one column for date and one column for the value. But what we really need is our budget data to fall into line with that, to collapse the columns down into a single column with a date and then the value. If you've ever tried to do this with cell formulae or just clicking and dragging and moving data and copying and pasting, you know how much work's involved. But Microsoft, in their wisdom, have included a super piece of magic into the Excel query engine that sits behind Excel, and most people don't know it's here. So this video is just going to show you very briefly how that works. Then you can go away and experiment for yourself and see whether you can save yourself a lot of time in your budgeting. So let's go right in. At the top we have a data menu, and under data menu we have a number of options. On the left we have get and transform data. So we're going to want to get data and transform it. The first thing we have to do, we put our cursor in the table where our budget is, and specifically I've already formatted this as table from the home menu. Then I want to get and transform something from a table or a range. I click and I get a dialog box which comes up, and this opens up the query editor, which I'll just pull across over here. This query editor automatically, as you can see, picks up that table, and I get the department, the account, and those columns coming across. It's just like a version of that table but as a query. Now on my menus here I have an option to transform. If I want to go and transform this data, I've got an unpivot columns feature. So what I do to make this work, I'm going to click on January, the first column I want to unpivot. I'm then going to go across on the scroll bar, move everything across the right hand end. I'm then going to shift and click, and as you can see the numbers or the columns have all turned green. I go back big there so you can see all my columns with the date headings with the numbers underneath have turned green. Then I say the magic word, which is not abracadabra, it's unpivot columns. I click unpivot columns, and magically I now have a data table with that department, with the account, but now those dates are in a separate column and the values have all arrived in a separate column. If I rename this date and then I close this query and get to the end of the process to home and close and load this query, what we're going to see on my spreadsheet, I now have a table of budget values that looks just like the actual, except that I've got future dates in here. So we can now use query tools, which we're going to cover in all kinds of other videos, to compare that data, create calculations, and no longer do I have to rely necessarily upon cell formulae and getting everything in the right place in the spreadsheet. I hope this has been really useful for you. I hope that you found a real gain in making this work for you. So let me know what you think in the comments. I've posted this video on YouTube, but it's going to be related to a blog, so come and find my blog on my website, www.infosuperstar.com. Send me an email, details are there. I'd love to have a chat with you about how you're using this feature. So, until next time, adios amigos, Andy Biggs from Info Superstar. See you next time.